Alright, this is a video being made up for the basic electrical setup for HazMat 1 on scene. It'll be basic procedures in order to use the truck with truck power, battery power, and generator power that's in the trailer in the back of the truck. First thing you want to do when you get out of the truck, whether you leave it running or not, is you have 20 minutes of battery time in order to get things set up. So you can either leave the truck running or you can use the generator power. But you only have 20 minutes on the truck's battery power in order to get things set up. We're going to start with the truck running. Basic minimum time, an hour. Truck's away from the scene so that the smoke isn't a problem. This will give you unlimited power in the truck using the inverter at any scene for less than 1 hour. Leave the truck running when you get on scene, which will, for purposes of the video, we'll leave off now. First thing you want to do, make sure that the power switch is on. What that does is it gets power from the batteries to the inverter, and as you can hear, it's starting up now. The second thing you want to make sure of is this power switch for the inverter itself is in the down position faced like this. There's two settings on it, power saving and no power saving. You want this switch in the no power saving position. This gives you full power to the truck from the batteries at this time. The next step you want to do is make sure that the dehumidifier in the back of the truck is in the off position. This way it'll allow you to use as much power as you possibly need without shutting the inverter off. If in event you do lose power to the truck from the inverter, you won't hear the fans running, you'll know that the power is off. Come to this here, to the inverter, push the switch to the middle position, give it a second, and then turn it back on to the savings off position. This will reset the inverter in the event of power loss. It has its own safety features built into it to prevent from overdraw of power, and that is the reset for the inverter in the event you do lose power. Now, as we stated, you have your powers all set up. First thing you want to do when you come into the back of the cab is turn the dehumidifier off by using this button here or unplugging it up against the wall. This disconnects this unit here. The next thing you want to do when you come in here is turn the AC on. You can either leave it in energy saver mode or normal mode, cool. Then your next step would be to turn your light switches on. It's the right fluorescent and the left fluorescent. This gives you AC and lighting in the truck, and with the truck running and the batteries on, there is some additional lights that come off the batteries that'll be on at this time also. The next thing you need to know is all the receptacles that are on the countertop here are powered up and running at this time. You should have your laptops, power for your other laptops. You can plug in your Wi-Fi or your network connections. All of this stuff you can run on this truck at any given time. You should not have any power issues. And if it is at this time, if you do have a power shutdown, your lights go off, your AC goes off, revert back to the steps of resetting the inverter, running off of truck power. And basically, those are the basic things you need to know for getting HazMat 1 up and running for power on a 1 hour or less using the truck power scene at any given time. Alright, the next step we're going to do is long duration scenes, longer than an hour, up to 5, 6, 7 hours. We're going to go to generator power. The cord that's on the top of this should remain plugged in at all times. It's a 120 volt, 30 amp plug. Shouldn't be unplugged, should stay on top of the generator when it's not being used. And the first thing you're going to do, and I'm not going to do it in the video, is we're going to turn on the generator. Once the generator is up and running, then you can take this cord and run it into the back of the truck. These two cruise malls are no longer being used. They will be disconnected eventually off of the truck, but these are not being used on this truck anymore. Plug this into the generator box that's on the back of the truck. Maybe. And twist it. Once it twists in, it's made connection, and you'll have power into the back of the truck. The next thing what will happen is the inverter itself will transfer power from battery to the generator power coming from the truck. Now when you get generator power hooked up, you've got the same limitations. The dehumidifier has to be off. You can run your ACs, you can run your power, your computers, your laptops, your Wi-Fi connections, all of that can be used in the truck. You can also use some of the receptacles that are on the outside of the truck at this time. It gives you a little more for LED lighting if it's a night scene. You're limited on how many lights you can hook up, 1 to 2 at the most, because you still have power issues. It's not a fail-safe, you only have 30 amps, but you can hook up some lights outside. For a cruiser needing to dress in this area, you can establish that. In the event you lose power from the generator, there's a couple of switches you're going to have to check while on scene in order to get power back into the truck. The first one is the main circuit breaker. The main circuit breaker controls all of these receptacles that are mounted on the back of this panel. If this is in the down position, that means your power is off. The circuit is tripped, something you've overloaded, or something has happened. Check your systems before resetting this, and then come back here and reset it. In the on position, it should be up in the on. The next, each one of the outlets has its own individual short circuit protection. That's these buttons here. In the event you lose power to any one of those, that would be the next thing you'd check to see if they're in the popped out position. Push them in to reset them. If there's no issues, they should stay, and you can continue on with power on the scene. If for any reason you need additional power that the truck can't handle, you would use these two receptacles here for 110 regular power. This generator supplies 30 amp, 240 volts to 2, and two 120 20 amps that this generator can output. So you have plenty of power in order to add more lighting to the scene for dressing and whatever the scene calls for at that time. As I said, a quick review: the main circuit breaker, individual circuit breakers in the up position for on, pushed in for on, and continue your operations from there. The next thing this generator also powers is the trailer itself, coming out of this one here. It's a 240 volt, 30 amp plug. It supplies power to a panel that's located in the top left corner of the trailer. With those breakers on, the receptacles and the night fighters on the outside of the trailer will also be powered up and able to use on scene at any time. So a refresher, this stays plugged in all the time. Once the generator starts up, go to the panel, turn your breakers on, and that supplies power to the trailer for additional power on scene if needed. The next thing is powered off of the truck, and we'll go through that in the next step, are the calibration meters. These are all plugged in up top here on a plug strip. These are plugged in to the back of the HazMat 1 to one of the receptacles on the outside of the truck. They don't have to be plugged in while standing in the bays or whatnot, but if they're going to be used, the next step is we'll show you how to power these up on the back of the truck. On the back of the trailer is this yellow extension cord. In order to hook up the MSA calibration meters, carefully route this around up underneath so it doesn't become a trip hazard, and plug it into this receptacle here. With the truck running and the inverter on, this now supplies power to only the calibration meters inside of the back of the trailer. Next step, we have a non-incident power up, say like open house in the station at the bay at station 1, is shore power. Shore power can either be done by the drop cord in the bay itself, that's been specially put in, it's a 30 amp cord, or if you need just basic lights, maybe an AC and you have an extension cord, you can plug this into the truck from shore power. Unlimited use and time, but you are limited to the power that you have that's in the wall of the receptacle that you're plugging into. So the best you're going to get is your basic lights and maybe the AC and a laptop. Short term, low power usage for on-scene shoreline power. But with the shore power that is at the station, all your systems can run normally like you're on the generator or running off the truck. You have your basic limited power supplied to it, You're just not running a generator or running off the battery. When the truck is plugged into the shore power at station 1, it charges the batteries on the truck. Even with the generator running, it charges the batteries on the truck. So in the event that you ran the batteries too low when you were on scene, didn't have the generator or the truck running, the inverter itself will charge the truck to get your batteries up and running to be able to start the truck later on. It's a trickle charge. It's a fast charge at first. It changes over to a trickle charge, so it'll give the batteries a little bit of juice, enough to start up the truck. Should. And then that's basically it for this presentation. If you have any questions, you can call me. I'm on C shift, or you have my number 941-256-6405. Call me on scene. Call me while you're on duty. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer for you. Thanks for your attention.